what is going to be the sign of your second coming, and what is going to be the signs of the end of the age? So 3 questions there asked. And Jesus's first response has always intrigued me. And I heard you talk about this recently. So I'm going to let you break the ice here. What was the number one thing Jesus, first thing out of his mouth, number one thing he warned the disciples about when they asked him about the end of the age?
Well, in Matthew 24, verse 3, they were sitting on the Mount of Olives, and they said, Lord, when will these things be? What will be the sign of thy coming? And the word what in Greek is the little word t. It describes something very minute, very minuscule. It means they were saying, Lord, we don't want a fuzzy answer. We want you to tell us precisely, exactly what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age. And it's interesting that they came to Jesus privately. And you know, when you get alone with the Lord and you speak to him privately, he will say things to you. And when no one else was listening, Jesus began to give them signs. They asked for one, but Jesus actually gave them many. But when you come to Matthew chapter 24 and verse 4, he answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. And John, most people, when they read Matthew 24, they jump right down to verse 6, which says, you'll hear of wars and rumors of wars. Verse 7, nations shall rise against nation, and famines and earthquakes and pestilence. And all of those are really important signs. But the first sign Jesus gave was the most important, and that's verse 4. And in verse 4, he said, take heed that no man deceive you. The words take heed in Greek are blepete. It's the direct form of the word blepo, which means to see. But here, Jesus used the direct form. It's like he was reaching out to grab them by the shirt and shake them up. Okay, you want to know what is the sign? Hear this. Take heed. Really hear what I'm about to tell you. Take heed that no man deceive you. And that word deceive is the Greek word planeo. That word planeo, here translated deceived, became very, very popular in the intertestamental years between the Old and the New Testament, when there was a great fascination with end-time events. And the rabbis at that time, just like Jesus said here, began to prophesy that the very end of the age, you'll know when you've come to the end of the age because spirits of delusion will be released in the earth to cause a worldwide deception. And basically now Jesus says the same thing in this verse. And this word deceive, the Greek word planeo, was a word which described primarily a moral wandering. But it was a person, a people, or a nation who one time walked on a very solid, traditional, well-worn path, but now for some reason, they've elected to leave that path and to take another path that leads along a very dangerous, treacherous cliff. It is the most dangerous path they could take, but they have deliberately wandered from a moral path. And the same word deceive was used in an agricultural sense to describe an animal that got so lost it couldn't find its way back home. So when you carry all this into the verse, Jesus was saying, you'll know you've come to the end of the age when society as a whole has made a decision to veer from what it once believed, to leave a very traditional, solid moral path, and begin to go a new direction. And of course, today we have progressives, and they're declaring that they're paving the way for a new world and a new kind of thinking, and they're taking this new moral path, which is absolutely treacherous. And if you look at what's taken place in society, you kind of wonder, has society lost its way so badly that it will never be able to find its way back home? And Jesus said, when you've come to the very end of the age, you will know it, because delusion will be released into the earth. And this word planeo describes delusionary spirits, which really create a mad kind of thinking. And we're really living in delusionary times.